One, yes, I can't believe it. Wow. Well, hey, welcome to the Shit Show, everyone. My name is Ron Klett. If you don't know who we are, my name is Ron Klett, and we are a show about everything A to Z and everything in between. And sitting next to me is
Derek the Barbaric Drenth.
Hey, how's it going, Derek?
It's going pretty good.
It's
It's a little nerve-wracking.
Oh my God,
trying
trying to get this whole stream set up.
Oh,
We are not technically savvy.
no,
We're really surprised that we actually have a podcast.
There will not be anything frilly on our live episodes.
There's
at
no
all.
there's no great graphics that are coming at you like in 3D or anything like that.
No fun music.
No.
Not until we figure this shit out.
No, we haven't. And I know all you tech savvy geeks out there, you like 10-year-olds and or whatever, probably 5-year-olds right now probably have their whole websites up and going
more
with
tech savvy than we are. That's
the young Steven Spielbergs out there that are creating their whole YouTube
right
/ podcast and everything with great graphics and but us, no, we don't have any graphics.
Nah, we're just kind of here.
Yeah, so here we are streaming live.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for season 3.
Man,
I mean, we talked about this forever.
We did. We've been wanting to do YouTube stuff, and we had two. Well, I think 2 things that we downloaded last year. On season 2.
Yeah,
and that was it. And
well, it was one. Yeah, it was one. I think it was around Halloween time. We downloaded the Ouija board experiment out at the cemetery.
Yep. And then we did the our interview.
We did
our interview that we had.
Yep.
That was So hopefully all of them will be on YouTube now. Hopefully.
What?
All our episodes will be on YouTube now.
Right. Hopefully going
season 3.
Yeah. So going forward, we should be streaming all of our episodes, and they also should be available on our website and all. If you can't check us out as we are streaming, because we typically will start streaming at 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Yeah. It's usually early.
Yeah, it's usually early. So if you can't check us out live, well, we're going to have them posted to our YouTube channel so you can view them at your leisure whenever you want to. And
then we're still obviously regular podcast, so it'll be on all the streaming services for that stuff too. Blah blah blah.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And Derek will have all of that information at the end of our show today for everybody. So speaking of shows today, and then going into season 3, what are we going to discuss for episode 1?
The ever controversial topic of QAnon.
I know. When we talked about this at the end of last year, because we had to cut our season short last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
We apologize for being gone so long and for cutting short last season, but there was a lot of life issues for Ron and I that came up.
I got COVID again. I think this is like the 3rd time. The 2nd time officially, but I think I had it one other time, and they said I just had the flu and some strange bug, about 25 viruses that were going around at the time. That's what the doctor told me. But I chalk it up to having, the COVID like 3 times.
Right.
So but even though that doesn't really exist.
Oh yeah. Of course.
Of course it doesn't exist. Even though I've had it 3 times, it still doesn't exist.
I almost died from it. Yeah.
And you did. Right.
Oh, but we had a lot. Sickness.
You had
a lot of family stuff, job stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you name it. We kind of had it. It was one of those when shit hits the fan, it really hits
really became a shit show for the both of us.
It's been a long couple of months.
It has been. It feels a lot longer than that.
I think it's been for the better though.
You think so?
I think a lot of the stuff that, at least from my side, even though it was horrendous, I think it was for the better.
I am surprised you pulled out of all of this. You pulled through. You came out on the other side stronger, a better person.
There you go.
Than you were before it.
I hope so.
I think so. You got a robust glow about you. Unless it's our lighting.
It's the lighting.
It's our lighting.
It's our lighting. That's all it is.
Okay. So that's what that is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So your beard is fully recharged.
Yes.
Recharged, and you're ready to go for season 3.
Yes, I am. Let's do this.
So we're going headlong into QAnon. We're not quite sure how many episodes this is going to take us.
It's going to be more than one.
It's a big subject.
Yep.
But we're going to try to condense it down as much as we can.
And it depends on, everyone. Oh, hey, everyone, we always talk about Ron's paperwork on our episodes. When I say Ron's paperwork,
I am old school, everybody.
I'm pretty sure there's 100 pages here, guys. Like, this is ridiculous. And now that we actually have video, you can see. Look at how thick that is. That's like good, like not children. This is like teen book, like preteen, like
it's a teen
book.
novel.
Like, holy cow.
Right. I write it in big chunky crayon. That's what I do. Short words, big chunky crayon. And not full sentences.
Right. Yeah. Oh God, none of my notes are full sentences.
And that's right. I'm old school. Derek is new school. He has all of his notes on his computer. I like the tactical stuff. I like smelling the paper. Just
is it tactical or tactile?
Did I say tactical?
I think you said
at least
tactical.
I didn't say testicle.
I like the testicle stuff.
Testicle stuff. That's right.
I knew it.
So, Derek, before we get into our show, we are going to do something that we do every episode, and that is
have drinks.
Have drinks.
Yes.
And we got a special drink for us today.
I was going to say, you're going to have to tell me about this one because I'm not sure what the heck's going on here.
Yeah, this is called the QAnon. That's right. So
that's
who
a
knows?
Little on the nose.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. I actually got online and I wanted to find out what type of drinks were associated with QAnon. And guess what? I came across a drink that was called the QAnon. How simple is that?
Oh, God.
And pretty much it is a simple recipe. It's one shot agua de Bolivia. It's an alcohol that is infused with coca leaves. And it is
no cocaine.
No cocaine.
Sadly.
It's the distillation process takes place in Amsterdam. They get the coca leaves, they distill it down, extracting all the cocaine out of it. Then you just kind of have this infused flavor, kind of cocoa leavish flavor, I guess.
Aqua velvet is how you put it earlier without smells.
I know. When we opened up the bottle, Derek goes, that smells familiar. And I
couldn't place it.
I went, Aqua Velva. This is what I used to use and sneak into my dad's medicine cabinet and put on before I went on my first date. Was Aqua Velva. Oh wow! And it's also made with a half a shot of spiced rum. Now, are you a spiced rum fan? I can't remember. You said you were kind of iffy on it.
I'm really iffy. I've had really bad experiences with rum.
Okay,
but a shot, I should be okay.
Okay. And
if you guys just see me bolt to like the room right there, that's our bathroom. If you see me bolt there, we know something bad happened.
Right. And then it's also mixed with 1.5 shots of Coke. That's not cocaine. That's standard Coke. But
Coca-Cola.
But the Coke we're using today comes from Mexico.
I was gonna say, I noticed it was actually like Mexican Coca-Cola.
So I had to use something that we could associate, mix it with that's associated with Mexico or Central America, some type of flavor like that. And I figured Coke from Mexico.
There you go.
Why not?
I mean, if the one stuff doesn't have the cocaine in it, maybe the Coke actually still has cocaine.
Maybe this stuff does. So I believe that's still a Coke's secret ingredient, right? Is coca leaves? It used to be at one time.
I'm not sure. I know they used to actually put cocaine in. Was it
real actual cocaine, or was it just kind of like how they make the Agua de Bolivia?
From everything I have read and seen, it was actually cocaine.
Oh,
okay. They would actually mix real cocaine in their drink. It was
what a
small
time.
amounts, but it was
What a time to be alive.
Hey, you want somebody to like your drink? Get them literally addicted. What better way than to spike your drink with?
That's right. Hey, kids,
try my cocaine.
Look what Dad brought home for us today. A case of Coke. Well, what year was that? About 1800s?
Oh gosh,
right?
Forever.
18, maybe early 1900s. I don't know my history on Coca-Cola,
so ago.
I would have to say maybe late 1800s, early 1900s, maybe mid 1900s. It had to be before that. I don't know. Are you looking it up?
He
is looking it up.
I am looking it up.
He is so high tech. He is so high tech.
I have to know all the answers.
We have to know.
because I don't want to give out any false information here, as we're covering QAnon.
Right. And we know that it's all accurate, truthful information when you're covering QAnon.
136 years ago. It was introduced May 8th of 1886.
So late 1800s then.
Yeah.
And does it say anything about cocaine at all?
I'm sure it says it somewhere in here.
So we're looking at 1886. We're assuming that it probably first came out with cocaine in it.
That would be
So all the kiddies are getting coked up.
I mean, come on. They were handing out cocaine for like regular home medicines at that point.
Well, that's true. It was medicinal.
Yeah.
Cocaine was medicinal, so it makes sense back in that era. And so was heroin. Heroin was medicinal back during the 1800s as well.
It actually says something here. If I can actually read fast enough and keep my brain working at the same time.
It's not as early as it was earlier ago.
Yeah, but
it's almost 12:30, so you should be getting those gears
I
ready
forgot to
go.
pick up the Monster on my way here. It's my problem.
And donuts. We usually have Marge's donuts, everybody, but we should have those probably for the next episode.
Yeah. Yep. There was cocaine, not a lot, but they took it out in 1903.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
1903, so it didn't last long.
It didn't last long.
About five years or so.
Yep.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, and
maybe they're
1904, instead of using fresh leaves, they started using spent leaves.
Spent leaves, okay.
Yes.
All right.
So leftovers
all the cocaine
after
out
the
of
cocaine extraction process.
Basically.
Yep.
Okay, so it was. So so they started to distract the cocaine or whatever it was that.
Yeah. Previously, it was like fresh leaves, so the cocaine was in there, but very minimal amounts. And then afterwards, they used ones that they had already pulled all the cocaine out of for their over-the-counter medicines.
Okay. Well, I know everyone, you are so fascinated by this conversation.
I know, right? Here we are. We're going to talk about QAnon today. So the history of Coca-Cola.
So let's move on. Okay, so we have this drink called the QAnon. And so we're going to take our first sip. This is basically what we do. We never try it. And this is a lot of these drinks we have never tried before. This is one of them. Well, here we go. Here goes nothing. Toast to you, my friend. Toast to everybody out there. And here we go. Aqua Velva. Here we come.
Right.
Wow.
Tastes kind of like Coca-Cola, like watered down. Like it has that sweet.
Well, it is watered down because our drink has been sitting here since we've been trying to, get through these technical difficulties for about an hour already made with the ice cubes melting in it. But still, I can taste the flavor of the agua.
Yeah.
It has like an herbal type of flavor.
Yeah.
It's almost like a medicine-y type of flavor, right?
It's odd.
It is a very odd flavor. I've never tasted. So if I would have drank Aqua Velva when I was 16 years old out of my dad's medicine cabinet, this is what it would have tasted like. Maybe?
I don't think so.
Would I even be here to even talk about it?
Not. I mean, you might have survived a sip, but...
So I kind of like it in a weird way. But we should have took a shot of it just to see what it would taste like.
And
just
then
straight,
made a full drink.
And then made a full drink. But it's not bad. How about for you? What do you think?
I don't think it's bad. It reminds me of watered down Coca-Cola. Like it's like flat, watered down Coke.
Well, Coca-Cola is made from coca leaves, so it makes sense that this is made from coca leaves as well, and it tastes, it kind of tastes like a watered down
Coke in it. So,
so there we go. We got double Coke.
We do.
We got double Coke, everybody. So anyway, before we get into this, any thoughts before we start about QAnon? Just what do you think?
I think personally for me, it was very hard to research.
Was it?
Yeah. It was, just because I don't want to get into too many personal thoughts on it yet. As we go along, obviously more will come out.
Right.
But I don't believe in all the QAnon conspiracy stuff to an extent for the most part, so I'm not sitting at it from a biased level of, I believe it, so blank. Yeah. But more of it is there is literally nothing from the other side. And the only thing you hear from the other side are interviews by somebody who's super biased that finds the craziest, kookiest person they could have found to talk about it. Like, there's no average run of the mill, person that supports QAnon. It's always, oh yeah, they're taking these kids and they're draining their blood for sacrifices and blah 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 blah, and like you can just tell, like there's a few screws loose. Where instead it's somebody they're like they can't find that person with like a rational thought process of, maybe not all of it's true, but I really understand where they're coming from, and so I kind of support this idea. There's none of that stuff. There's all these people that ever spoke about it are banned off of every channel known to man, whether it's Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and everything else. Every one of them, their accounts get purged, so you can't go, oh hey, I'm curious on this person's, these people's points of view to see if I can find a rational one, even.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was tough.
Yeah, true. I believe what you're saying as well, because I haven't found excuse me, haven't found anything that was from the other side just saying, okay, yeah, I follow Q because of this, and this has really made a positive change in my life.
Yeah.
I have never found those accounts at all yet, where somebody has says, yes, I am, kind of like, yeah, I exercise and I do yoga and I run and I lift weights and I eat healthy, and it's really benefiting my life, and it's benefiting my loved ones and the people I care about in my life. Yeah. You never hear people from QAnon saying that, yeah, I follow this belief and my whole family follows this belief, and it's done really great things for me.
I don't know how positive, life-changing QAnon is, even for those that believe in QAnon, considering it's a pretty dark conspiracy stuff.
It really isn't. It seems like everything that I came across, particularly in the media, it was always focused on the child sexploitation aspect of it, the child sex trafficking, the satanic cults that are stealing our children in the dead of night. And using them for all nefarious reasons. It always seems to be focused on that.
Got to get that adrenochrome,
Of course, yeah. You got to feed on that adrenochrome. It makes you look young and supple.
Exactly.
Is that your secret today? Is that why you're glowing?
That is my secret.
Yeah, it's not our high intensity suntan light that we have going here. It's adrenochrome.
That's it, Ron. You figured out my secret.
God, man, why haven't you been sharing that adrenochrome with me? I noticed a few crow's feet. I need those gone. So if you can just if I can gulp down some adrenochrome or just inject it like a little Botox, I'll be good to go, man.
Well, I mean, I can't just give you my stash. I mean, come on.
Well, at least give me a small child. Come on. I can slowly purge the adrenochrome from them down here at the studio.
There you go.
Oh,
that's
boy.
The other door.
That's that one right there. But we're not going to let any secrets out of that door. So hey, let's start going into this. You got any other thoughts on this before we start delving into more details about QAnon?
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. And so it was on January 6th of 2021, my friend. An armed mob of Donald Trump supporters accomplished what no Confederate soldier, Nazi stormtrooper, or jihadist could ever do. Guess what did they do, Derek?
But see, the thing is they weren't armed. None of them were armed.
Well, they had arms.
Well, yeah,
they had arms.
I mean, if they really wanted to, we are talking about the Conservative Party, which, if we're talking arms,
see, and
they've got firearms.
Yeah, and that's just it. And that's one of the misnomers about, or misnomers, not misnomers, misnomers about the supporters that were there that day. They were not armed.
Yeah.
But this is some of the information that you come across.
Oh yeah,
they were armed to the teeth.
Armed to the teeth, and they found this and they found that, and then there was pipe bombs that were found. Yet ironically, the videos that show the person who supposedly planted one of the pipe bombs only shows from one angle, and from that angle you can't tell if they're actually doing anything other than sitting down.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like, Okay, there's obviously another camera. They show them from that other angle, but when they're supposedly placing the pipe bomb, they ironically don't have the footage from that angle that would show it. I understand where Q is coming from in conspiracy theories. I really do.
Right. That's what's really crazy about this, because I can understand too, where they're coming from too. But again, here you have a lot of people that were at this protest that may or may not have been associated with QAnon, were basically being thrown under the bus, saying that they had this and they had that, when there was really no hard evidence. But you read in the media, well, they were armed to the teeth when they infiltrated the Capitol building on that day. Well, were they or weren't they?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not gonna say what they did was good, because I mean, there was those that fought with the police and everything else, and really bad, not a good thing. Do not condone at all. If you can avoid violence at all costs.
Yeah.
Do that wonderful quote of the only fight you win is the one you don't get into, or some shit like that. Like, I
kind of agree with that. Yeah.
But then at the same time, people that get lumped into this whole January 6th, QAnon, all that kind of stuff, are those innocent people that just walked in because they were on the other side, where they opened the doors and opened the gates and were like, yeah, come on in, have fun, go look around, take some pictures. And then they're like, oh my goodness, insurrectionists. It's like, no, that's literally a 90-year-old granny with cancer. Leave her alone.
That's so true. So true. Well, it was on that day that the final act of pretty much a 2-month stretch that saw Trump lose his re-election bid, only to repeatedly tell his supporters that he had not only not lost, but he won by a landslide. So why not just deny everything? What Trump would do. Trump, oh my God, what any QAnon conversation would be without Donald Trump. We got to bring in Donald Trump in the next. Either if you support the guy or not support him, or you're kind of on the fence, hey, Donald Trump is there. And
according to Q, he was the savior of mankind.
He was going to save.
Whether it was the election stuff, whether it's the child sex trafficking stuff, whether it's the Satanists and the everything else, he was the one that was going to save everyone.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, according to Trump, it was a win that the liberal deep state, its media minions, and its globalist hackers were desperate to keep from the masses. And so Trump and his followers, basically, they gathered that day to protest as Congress was ready to certify Joe Biden's election as president.
Yeah.
And pissed off were they.
Oh,
I remember watching all that news footage. I mean, there were millions there.
Yeah.
It just seemed like the last concert we were at.
Right.
Yeah, it seemed like the Upheaval Festival.
Just a shit ton of angry people.
Oh my God, a lot of angry people. Some of them you would look at and kind of go, yeah, they killed somebody while they were on meth.
Right.
But needless to say, there were a lot of people at that protest that day to support Trump. Yeah. So in that speech before the crowd, Trump declared, in his own words, I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. So there again, when they called out, and I remember on the media, they were calling out Trump for basically inciting a violent riot, when in fact he did say peacefully.
Yep. Oh, they like to twist his words all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
No, I'm not saying I'm supporting Trump on this.
We
got to keep it real though, right?
So this, back when he was being elected the first time, there was always these little memes going around, and like during his presidency, that was stop making me support Trump. Like, stop making me defend the guy. Because there were so many straight out lies about him that people who actually paid attention to what was going on were like, I hate him, but he didn't do that. He didn't say that. He did this instead. Like the very fine people quote from that Joe Biden kept using against him when he ran for election.
Yeah.
Over the I can't remember where the riot was, but there was white supremacists and like KKK members and stuff, and everyone was like, "Oh, he was calling these KKK people very fine people," and he's like, "It's like no, if you listen to the full quote,
I think he was looking at some of the women that were probably involved in the KKK.
Damn, there's some
fine people out there.
But like, if you look at it, if you look at his actual quote, he goes, he initially outright denounced all the bad people from the KKK side and from the other side that got violent. But then he goes, but at the same time, I know there are some very fine people in this crowd today.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
There are good people. Like, there might be some bad apples, but there are good people in there. Like, so they take his words and mix them up all the time.
They do.
All the time.
Well, the media loves it because it makes a great story.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it definitely does. I mean, but he did say fight like hell or else they wouldn't have a country anymore now. He did say that, and he even claimed that he would join them in that march over to the Capitol, which we know that he didn't. He kind of like, whoop, well, I think I better turn this way and maybe go in the opposite direction.
Well, unless you talk to the people that say he reached over and tried to choke out his driver and steer the.
Oh, please take me back.
Have you heard?
I haven't heard that one. Is this another QAnon conspiracy?
No, it's actually during his all these trials that are going on for him and stuff like that. The January 6th committee stuff.
Yeah,
was supposedly he was in the Beast, his the SUV. That they drive, the presidential SUV. And supposedly he reached across and tried to choke out the driver while steering towards the Capitol. Because
you know how
he needed to get to the Capitol.
I just can't see Donald Trump even moving an inch when he's in there. I mean, I can't see him reaching across, grabbing a driver and saying, you better turn this ship around, my friend.
Get me to the Capitol.
I got to be with my people. I can't see Trump doing that either. No. I mean, first and foremost, I don't know if he could actually get, I mean, he was quite of a rotund man. I don't know if he could actually get up and reach around.
He was a big guy.
I don't know if he had enough energy to do it after that speech. I mean, that was a riling speech.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but, you know.
Well, and from everything I heard, he's eccentric, but he's not a mean person.
No, I heard from what I've heard that he was somewhat of a nice guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think he was. I really think the media really tried to make him out to be this really bad, ugly person.
Yeah, I do too.
But his flamboyancy didn't help much either.
No, yeah.
I mean, he kind of played into it.
He definitely did.
But Trump, again, I think he played the media for what they were. The media basically were a bunch of suckers.
Oh, yeah.
And he played them for that.
Well, there's the whole thing of there is no such thing as bad publicity. I mean,
sure.
And he could do something super dumb and it got their attention. And
he knew it.
Oh, yeah.
He was a master. He was like the P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
Of
played the media like
he was a great promoter for Trump.
Yeah.
He knew how to promote his brand, the Trump brand.
What are we, 2 years into Biden's presidency and they're still freaking out over Trump?
Sure, we're still talking about him. Look, we're talking about him right now.
Like, well, even like mainstream media is still talking about like everything is still Trump. Trump this, Trump that. Trump,
sure.
Trump.
Oh, you got to be scared of Trump. We can't let Trump into the office.
Like,
so we'll plant 70 documents.
Yeah, right.
You know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about. And who knows? We'll see what happens coming out of all of the investigations over this, and so. But many were that were in the crowd were fueled by false information, though. Yes. That Pence had the authority to throw out all of the electoral votes. I don't know where that came from. Did that come from Trump himself?
I'm not sure, but I know he has some weird authority to count. Because states can send in different electorates. They are different, like, what are they called? they're essentially who they vote for.
Mhm.
They can send in different, like you can have one group send in one thing and one group send in the other. And Pence, I believe, has the power to pick which one he counts.
Okay.
I believe that's the power everyone was thinking about, but they were like, oh no, he's just going to deem Donald Trump president and say he, like, nothing actually was there, when it's kind of the step over the line of what he's actually allowed to do.
Mm. Okay.
Because there's the electors that the state will send, but then I believe like the states, like Congress or whatever it is, whatever that state has, they can deem their own. If they feel as though something is wrong, they can send their own electorates to
Yes,
Washington.
you are right. You are right.
And I believe then Pence has the power of which ones to choose.
That
from.
basically comes at the end of all of this, during when they are trying to certify all the votes. That's the certifications. That's when all of that happens. That's when they can send in their own electorates, like you were just saying, to Congress
Something
to kind of say, hey,
something fishy was going on. We think this is probably what was supposed to happen.
Right. And basically they did follow all the steps that they needed to follow when this whole the vote was protested. I mean, I think everything was pretty much followed. As far as I know,
there was a lot of stuff that was overlooked.
Okay.
There was a lot of lawsuits that were deemed not, like, they wouldn't hear the lawsuit on the deems of a technicality over actually merit of the law. Like there was the really big one that I think Texas initially filed against Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and a couple others.
Yeah.
And it was like 20 states were part of this thing. It was a massive lawsuit. But when it went to Supreme Court, they were like, oh, well, actually the vote already happened, so you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Instead of, well, let's see what's going on. Maybe something fishy happened.
Sure.
Not necessarily that, to go into the voter machine issue, but some of the laws that were made in those states that allowed for, the mail-in voting, the ballot boxes that were just sitting around town in some places. Like they had a bunch of different little rules that were technically unconstitutional, whether it's via federal or state constitution. They weren't allowed to do that. And then they were like, well, beforehand, when they started complaining about it, they were like, well, there isn't an injured party in this, so we're not going to hear it. And then afterwards it was like, well, it's already done, so there's nothing we can do. And so it was like, wait a second, so you're just going to say too bad, so sad because people did stuff wrong? Like, where am I allowed to fight this then?
Yeah.
So, I understand. Again, stop making me defend these people because I don't agree with them. But I get it.
You're making it hard not to defend them because you have so much incompetency within our governments. So much incompetency that you can't help not defend, say, the QAnon supporters, the Trump supporters, and alike.
Yeah.
And it's so much stupidity that is going on.
If somebody has an argument, the worst thing you can do against that argument is say, oh, you have no bearing, I'm not going to look at it.
No, I'm not going to look at it. I'm looking the other way. No, that doesn't exist. No, I'm going to stick my head in the sand and pretend that it doesn't exist.
Is humor them, listen to them, hear them out, and then go off of that.
Yes, I agree. Well, yeah. See?
Stop making us defend people.
Please. Especially the seemingly incompetent ones. We don't know.
Exactly.
I mean, we're incompetent ourselves. Every human is incompetent. But for some reason, egos get in the way, I guess, and they don't want to admit it. But anyway, that's another show topic.
Right.
So anyway, so on that day, they breached the building in an attack that had appeared to be aided by insiders.
Yes.
It seems like the gates were thrown wide open, killed one of its defenders. I remember that.
No. Nobody died.
Okay.
No, none of the police officers.
There was a woman that died.
There was a woman that died, but she was shot by a police officer.
Right.
While looking in a window.
Yes.
But
And
the police officer that died, actually, his death had nothing to do with the attack.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a heart attack or some shit. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yep.
But yeah, it was deemed by the coroner not to have dealt with his injuries from the attack.
So there you get another misnomer.
I
want to throw those in there because you're making it so hard not to defend these people.
Again, right? He should have never been attacked in the first place. Yes, that is correct. He should never have been attacked in the first place.
Right.
But he did not die from his injuries. He died from something else.
There you go. There you go. So again, another misnomer, like we were talking about in the news, that they were armed, they killed people and everything. Yeah. Well, no, not the case. So there we go. One note down, people.
1,200
more to go. They looted sensitive material.
I just scroll like an inch.
He scrolls an inch. Oh, there it is. They looted sensitive material. Yeah, I guess that one guy kicked back behind Pelosi's desk.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there was the one guy who I believe took the laptop. Right.
What was the picture of the one guy? He was taking something else out of the building.
Okay,
what was that?
Ironic.
What was that?
Shout out. I saw this on Timcast IRL the other day. They did an interview with that guy. I cannot remember his name. I am so sorry. But they call him Podium. The podium guy.
That's the guy. Yeah, he was taking a podium.
First off, it's not a podium. It's a lectern. It was a lectern, not a podium.
Glad you cleared up that minor detail there, Derek.
He never took it. It was in a storage area underneath the stairs. He took it to the middle of the rotunda area, like the middle of the room. Did like a 3-second quote unquote speech, like just kind of a mock, like, I'm going to pretend to be a law person speech, and left it. Yet everyone's like, he stole it. He stole this. He stole a podium. Well, you're lying twice. He never stole it, and it was a lectern.
So there you go, my friends. Another misnomer.
Yeah.
And put to rest by our very own Derek the Barbaric Drenth.
That's what I'm here for.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Because before we go into this episode, I said I'm not a very political person. I'm not well schooled in politics and what's happening really in politics. I would have to say Derek is probably more schooled in that area than I am. So I told him, hey, if there's stuff that could be misnomers or whatever political slant there is, please elaborate on that.
I wish I wasn't, though. I wish I didn't pay attention to this crap, but for some reason it keeps sucking me back in. Like, it's like, no, I don't want to listen to this crap. I don't want to listen to the BS of this world. I just want to get out of it. And then next thing you know, I'm watching another video on YouTube about the bullshit going on.
Getting sucked down right into.
I understand how QAnon people get sucked in.
Rabbit hole.
Get it. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. Then you're watching videos of flat earthers debating, hollow earthers and who is right and who is wrong. I'm just saying it would be very narrow.
We all know it's a donut.
Right.
We all know it's a donut.
It's a donut, and the center is the creamy filling. So they did occupy, though, the building for hours.
That
they did. And so the attackers had a variety of end goals that day. Some believe that Pence was a traitor who deserved death for his failure to throw out the certified votes of the Electoral College. Okay. Some were prepared and were out for blood. So they said, now in the media, and this is where we can maybe lay this misnomer, and you might be able to elaborate on this, which you already did a little bit, but still, they still throw this in here, that they were strapped with guns, bombs, plastic flexible handcuffs for hostages.
Okay, so there were a few people that had like the zip tie style handcuffs.
Yep.
There were 2 pipe bombs that were found. But again, the one that I had recently read about, they supposedly know who did it, but the video of them doing it is you can't see them do anything. They go sit down on a bench and they sit there for a minute and then they get back up again. And it doesn't show them like placing something underneath, because the view is like some really bad, like blocked view of the bench, when there's another camera that's aiming directly at the bench, but we can't get that footage. So it's like, all right, then. So you want me to believe this, then show me the other footage.
Right.
Let me guess. The cameras weren't working that day. It just so happened that one camera that would show.
Well, it was the same. Well, it was the same company that actually was in charge of Epstein's cameras
exactly,
as well.
Exactly.
I mean, this company is just obviously they don't know what they're doing, and they need to go out of business. They need to stop setting up shop with all these cameras. They're just not good.
They got some faulty cameras.
They definitely shoddy work. Some very shoddy camera
bunch
work.
Of faulty Chinese cameras or something like that.
And so I remember seeing the footage, and they were showing these snapshots. You know, I remember on CNN and all the news channels, they were showing snapshots of selfies being taken of these people walking around the halls, you know, and they showed the snapshot of the guy taking the lectern. I remember he's smiling at the camera and everything.
He posed.
Right.
It was actually a posed shot.
But what about the guy that was kicked back at Nancy Pelosi's desk with his feet on the desk, and supposedly he took a letter off of her desk, right? Well, I can't remember what was that letter.
I know somebody left a note. It was somebody left a note saying something like "your time has come" or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But from what I looked in, from like the interviews with the person who left that, it was, I think it was supposed to be like, hey, you're like, justice is coming, you're gonna go to jail type of thing, and everyone took it as they're gonna kill her. Right. It's like, no, it means more than that. Like,
they take this leap of faith. We're gonna kill her. We're gonna we just gotta take that leap. We just gotta do it. We're gonna kill her.
Like, that's the downside to this generation, is you have to be really careful with what you say with your words, because nobody's going to take the innocuous little thing. They're just going to take the worst it could possibly be.
Right.
You know, and I mean, they're trying to throw everyone under the bus for this thing. It's ridiculous. It's so dumb.
Yeah. And they had a mixed crowd too. There were just people that were, they said they were just caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, there were also other people.
Lectern guy actually was
just kind of caught up in the moment.
Yeah. He went to the protest. From according to his story, he went to the protest, and like he saw the violence starting to break out and stuff like that, and was like, screw this, I'm not going to be a part of it. Went the other way.
Yeah.
Eventually noticed doors were open and people were going in, and it's like, yeah, fuck it, let's go see what happens. Like, let's check this out.
Let's go check it out.
I've never been in here before. He was like, he admitted that, he knew he probably shouldn't be in there, but it's one of those, like, literally everyone's going in there.
Right.
The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say, get out, you can't be here.
Or what's the worst is going to happen? A selfie is going to be taken of me stealing the lectern.
Somebody's good.
Or having the lectern under my arm. I can't say stealing.
There was a photographer in there taking pictures. And that's what it was the guy just happened to look over, and the photographer took a picture of him, was like,
well, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? You know? Yeah, well. Yeah. Oh, well, some were Nazis looking to recruit new members, and there were also other people there just to basically monetize their content for live streams.
We should have gone, Ron.
We should have went there and covered that for the shit show. That would have been a true shit show.
We'd be in prison right now.
Yeah, there were covert ops, kind of ex-military police types that just wanted to go there, flex their muscle, pretty much. And also trolls that were just looking to have a good time and overthrow democracy. Why not? Let's just overthrow democracy for a good time.
And then, grannies that were just lost and confused and taking pictures because they thought it was a sightseeing event. There were.
I just got this vision of a bunch of tourists just with a bunch of cameras just snapping
there
pictures
Have
everywhere.
You seen some of the pictures of some of the people that were there? They were just like these older people that were they were literally on a tour of the Capitol building. Like that was what it looked like.
It did. They're
just
wandering around.
Like, oh, hi. Oh, look at this.
I got to send this to my Instagram. Look, Mom, look where I'm at. Hey, everybody.
Some old granny like sitting there texting. Yeah, there was a lady. She was in her 70s or 80s, and she has cancer. And she got sentenced to like 3 months in prison for a misdemeanor charge.
Really?
Yeah, because she went into the Capitol building.
Oh, okay, that's a little far-reaching.
Right? Yeah,
a little far-reaching. They could have maybe just slapped her with a little bit of a fine, maybe a $50 fine.
How many years ago was this?
Yeah,
2 years, year and a half, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
There are still people locked in prison without a trial in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
To this day, there are still people that have been in solitary confinement for almost 2 years.
Yeah, no, I mean, most of those people were that were arrested within days of the protest and the insurrection.
Yeah. You want to talk about not okay in my book?
Definitely not.
I believe there's an amendment out there. Which one it is, I can't remember off the top of my head, talking about speedy trial.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think 2 years is speedy.
Right.
In solitary.
Right.
Solitary freaking screws with your head.
Right.
Like no human contact other than like the guard dropping off food and stuff like that.
Sure.
Screw that.
I know.
That'll drive a person mad.
It really does. I know. Sometimes marriage feels that way. I know what you mean.
Solitary confinement.
Please, honey, let me just have some of that government cheese, please. Please.
So Angie, can I please have Derek over?
Please. Can we podcast, please?
Socialize.
Well, a lot of these people within the crowd had one thing in common. And one thing in common indeed. They believed in the cultish conspiracy theory called QAnon. That's right.
And I'd love to do a poll to see how many of them actually do.
Right.
Like,
right.
Is that an assumption, or do they all actually believe in QAnon?
Right. Or what they do believe, they really don't know that it's associated with QAnon.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have no idea.
Well, yeah, because like I think somebody can firmly believe, those election results were kind of iffy. I'm not too sure I agree with them. They might not be total nutcases on it all.
Right.
But then, because they believe in that, they're automatically assumed QAnon.
Right. Right. Well, everywhere on that day, on January 6th, you could find QAnon symbolism everywhere. Yeah. T-shirts and posters and,
there were quite a few.
Yeah. And then also images of the Q shaman were even there, he was a very colorful character as well. What was his name? Jake Angeli?
Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
Jake Angeli. I mean, he said that he was there. In fact, he's an ex-Navy soldier as well. A very intelligent individual. Kind of took up the helm of protesting and everything and just began dressing as the shaman and, painting his face and wearing loincloths and, and basically he said he was there during the protest to oversee the protest and to give prayer and over the protest to make sure that it goes safely and that it goes well. That was his main stance, to be there for the protest. So, so he's kind of like the spiritual images leader of QAnon. He's almost like their pawn.
Like the guy's views might be crazy, but again, a lot of media hype. He didn't go there to like kill people and take over. He just wanted his outcome.
Right.
He didn't want it violently. He didn't want it to be this crazy thing. He just wanted Pence to go, okay, yep, this doesn't seem right. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to certify.
Right.
That's all he wanted. That's like, so yeah, it's media takes this very eccentric fellow
Yeah.
and essentially demonizes him like you wouldn't believe.
I don't know. Well, he was demonized, but then again, he became very popular for it too.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, there's nothing better than negative press.
Yeah, there is no such thing as bad press. It's all, but
yeah.
Yeah.
The people that went into the Capitol that day, they didn't just believe that the voting machines had been hacked, but that China was partially responsible for that as well, and that Trump had really won the election, and efforts to decertify the vote had great legal merit, and that they would eventually paid off. So this is what a lot of the QAnon believers believe, and I believe they believe. They believe it today.
The believers believe that believe. To the believe.
Who just let in Porky the Pig? So they also believe that if legal measures were unsuccessful, the military would step in.
Yes.
And I remember hearing that too, that there were a lot of people that were believing that, okay, yeah, the military are gonna step in. They're going to set up shop at the Capitol, and they're going to bring Trump in on his golden throne, right? They were going to set him up and put him in place as the leader for all time, that he will never, ever, be.
It's so dumb. This is,
Yeah.
and it's
he will always be
reasons
president.
like this that I hate it when they make me defend these people, because it's like, come on.
Right.
First off, we're not going to have a Putin style presidency where it's like, oh yeah, just ironically nobody runs against me. It's weird how that happens.
Right.
No, we can't have that here, people. Like, that's not how this works. Do I firmly believe that we need to really redo our election process? Yes, I do. I think, one of the things that I keep hearing is like an open source code for our election machines. So that way you can see what the voting machine is doing every time, when people vote. You can see what the code is when it counts it. You and me might not understand it, but people smarter than us would be able to look at the code and go, wait a second, that line right there, that means every time somebody votes for this, it actually votes twice for something else. Like, they'd be able to see because that was always one of the things, was it was either throwing out votes or it was converting votes.
Yeah.
And if it was open source and it was available to the public to see what the code was, you'd be able to see errors like that.
Right.
Or another option I had heard was have it where you can track your own vote. So you vote one way, you can hop on to some site that does all the voter tracking.
That is such a good idea.
Type in your name and you can see what you voted for.
I think, both are very good ideas to have. A code, as well as you can track your own vote. Yeah. That is beautiful.
And it should be handled by a freaking private company.
Sure.
Because private companies have private interests. And why would who's to say they can't be bought? Not saying they were. I am not saying they were. I cannot stress it enough. I'm not saying that they were bought or that there was something suspicious going on.
Right.
But it opens up the door to a possibility that something might be going on.
Right.
Which is where Q comes in, and where I understand where they're coming from of there's too many questions of what could be, and we're not getting straight answers.
Yeah.
To where they take it from that perspective of, this is kind of fishy, I'm not sure what's going on, to, oh my goodness, it's a massive cabal, the world is under attack.
Those damn Satanists.
Right. Like, they take, one little thing. I mean, it's our election, so not necessarily a little thing.
That one little thing called the election.
But, they take a logical standpoint of, we don't know what's actually happening.
Sure.
To the nth degree.
Of course.
Like I was talking to you about beforehand with Alex Jones turning the frogs gay. Well, there was a chemical that was being dumped into the water that was turning the frogs hermaphroditic. Yep. It wasn't turning them gay, but it was turning them into hermaphrodites.
Yep.
he's not necessarily wrong. He just took it too far.
Sure. He took it to the nth degree.
Yep.
And that's the problem with a lot of these conspiracy theories and a lot of theories that are involved in QAnon. They take it to the nth degree out of paranoia and distrust for our government, or a certain agenda that they just don't like one particular candidate over another candidate. So they exaggerate the truth and try to demonize, whoever they don't like.
So does everyone else.
So who doesn't? Who doesn't? It's fun.
They're
It's fun.
They've been doing it to Trump since he got elected.
Sure.
The guy didn't have one single year as president where he wasn't fighting against somebody.
Right.
Just let the poor fucker do his job.
I know. I mean, come on. Yeah, for everybody that was against Trump, you basically created a guy that has more resilience.
Yeah.
Really, you've made him a little bit stronger, not weaker because of it.
You've made him look better.
Sure. It all backfired on you.
Oh, hell yeah.
On you guys. Because he used it against you.
Yeah.
And he still is.
Oh, hell
because they're still talking about him in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that day, they believed also that, well, of course, Trump would be president for life.
Yep.
Liberals and traitors would be hanged, and freedom would reign throughout the whole land. Just because we got rid of the liberals and those traitors that did not support Trump, and many of them believed that they were given secret cures for deadly diseases. COVID-19, probably.
Like the elites and shit were given secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Look at some of those people. They should be dead.
Well, also, right. Well, they also believe that for themselves, as we will find out later on, as we discuss some of the drops that were made by Q, either if you believe it was one individual or a group of individuals that either had military connections or not, that they were given these drops, and within these drops were secret codes or whatever that only certain believers called anons could interpret and disseminate this information to the masses. That within these codes, these anons, which are drops, and also anons are referred to people that read these drops, that within this, there were secret messages to cures and secrets and everything like that as well. And so if you knew how to decipher these, well, then there you go. You carry these secrets with you. So they felt that they were given the path to economic stability and prosperity, access to powerful new technology, and possibly even, any good conspiracy theory would not be a good conspiracy theory without the truth about aliens.
Right. I mean, I believe in aliens, but I'm not a QAnon person.
Right. So, but they believe that as well. So all of this together in a big melting pot has become part of QAnon, a cult. It's been called.
Yes.
A popular movement, of course, a puzzle, a community of support, and a way to fight back against evil. It's also become a new religion, so to speak, as well. I mean, it does have its religious overtones, if you really read into it. It's become a wedge between a lot of people within a lot of families. It has broken up families, friendships, everything. It's also become a domestic terrorist threat. A lot of people within QAnon, as we will explore later, had pretty much their own run in with the with law enforcement, and more than anything, it has become a conspiracy theory of everything.
Yes.
That's what makes this thing so great.
I know, that's the fun part, is the conspiracy. See, the conspiracy theory side of it is where I thrive.
You do. This is like your bath. This is your bath of warm water.
Because the political side, to me, I firmly believe is overhyped a lot of times. It's blown out of proportion for a lot of people. It's, they'll cover QAnon till the end of the days, but God forbid, a year ago or so when they were burning down cities. We can't talk about that though, because that's not
right.
Yeah, so that's where the political side of it gets really hard for me. It's like I would be all for it if we could point fingers in both directions, but we're not allowed to socially. We can't go, oh, QAnon's doing terrible things, but these guys over here are doing really shitty things too.
Yeah.
I can't, you can't mention when what was it, a couple of years beforehand, they stormed another was it the Capitol building again? It was with all the pussy hats, the vagina hats.
Yeah.
They essentially did the same thing. They broke into the Capitol building.
Okay.
And they went into.
I remember hearing about the pussy hats. Yeah.
Yeah, and they actually went into. I believe that's the right protest. I could be wrong, but they actually went into Congress and like disrupted Congress and everything else,
right?
Just like January 6th did. But we can't talk about that. We don't hear about that. You're not going to get information on that.
What I want to see, you've seen a lot of these women with the vagina hats. I just want to be anatomically correct. Excuse me, ladies. I don't mean to offend you. I don't want to say cunt. Definitely don't want to say that. Even though that. Hey, can we say this on YouTube?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We might be demonetized, but I think we can still say
I don't think we're making millions off of this one anyway. Right. Anyway, I want to see a bunch of guys with dick hats. I really do. All these women have the pussy hats. What about the dick hats? Come on, guys.
Are we going limp or erect?
I want erect. Definitely. But like you were saying, you hear about one side, but you don't hear about the other side.
You're not allowed to talk about the other side.
That's the way it seems to be. That's the way it's spun in our media.
They stormed the White House, tore down gates, burnt guard houses, injured I forget how many hundreds of guards when they did that at the White House. And then they turn it and go, oh, but Trump had the National Guard or whoever turn on them and throw tear gas just so he could get a photo op. It's like, no, you guys made them retreat into a bunker underneath the White House.
Yeah.
A lot of police officers were injured, and oh, God forbid, can't talk about that in a negative light. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to talk about one, you got to let me talk about the other.
You got to have a balance.
Yeah.
You really have to present the information within a balanced light.
Yep.
Definitely.
I can tell you both of them weren't good.
No. It just never ends up well when you have violent protest,
exactly.
Threatening people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Particularly with anger. Yeah. You definitely don't have anything good when that happens, And so it was between 2018 and 2020. Nearly 100 Republican candidates did declare themselves to be Q believers.
Yep.
With actually many winning their elections.
Yeah.
And so before his Twitter account was shut down, though, Trump himself retweeted hundreds of Q followers, putting basically their violent fantasies and bizarre memes into tens of millions of feeds. And this is the other thing that Q actually has. I mean, they can do this. I mean, not only was it for Q believers, a ground war, putting troops on the ground, they can go in there and protest and, be heard, but also they could spin the media and they could actually start throwing out memes and getting into, social media and really infiltrate the media with their beliefs as well, and skew it any way that they wanted to.
Yeah.
Definitely. There was a time when Trump was asked by a White House press corps member to denounce Q. And we were just talking about this, and I think we were talking about this before we aired today. Trump evasively replied, I don't know much about the movement other than I understand they like me very much, which I appreciate.
Right.
So we were talking about this,
I honestly don't think he knows much. I really don't. I don't see him as being this person that's really paying attention to like all the ins and outs of everything going on.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't have the wherewithal to get off Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
He could have gotten off Twitter, gone over to one of these other sites, and everyone would have had to follow.
Yes.
And he didn't do that.
Right.
because I don't think he pays that much attention.
I don't think so.
He hears Q. Well, they're not this, like, they haven't done anything. That's not like the KKK, which he denounced numerous times. It's not like a bunch of white supremacists that he's said is a bad thing and don't do that, don't be them.
Right.
They're not that. So I don't think it's mainstream enough. I don't think it was mainstream enough or out there enough for him to be like, ooh, I don't know. Yeah, that's not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just like, oh, I know they support me and they might be a little crazy, but that's
sure.
There's a lot of people like that are,
but
I don't know Trump. So
right. Well, I mean, Trump, I believe, does have a slight megalomaniac type of personality. And so
he is a narcissist.
Of course he is. And so I believe that any sort of group that would probably give Trump some support, it would probably go to his head and you would think, okay, yeah, that's not a bad thing. They support me. Okay. But like you had said, there probably wasn't enough out there in the media at the time about this group and their dealings and what they were doing. And, and pretty much maybe there was, and he just didn't pay attention to it.
At least enough bad stuff. Like,
sure.
Like he may have heard about the Q drops and stuff like that. And was probably like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Look what they believe.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to stop them because they're voting for me. But that's kind of funny.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was like with the KKK. I mean, when it was said that, the KKK had at one time supported Trump. And we were talking about this before, we went on air, and well, they did support him, but he did denounce the KKK. But you don't hear a lot about that. And you don't hear Trump saying, oh yeah, he did denounce them staunchly, that, I don't support at all.
Yeah. And then
I don't support their cause.
2020 elections or whatever it was, the last elections we had, they denounced him. The KKK denounced Trump, saying we don't agree with his views and policies.
Yeah.
But we do agree with the left because they're pushing for segregation. What I mean, it's equality or equity is what they're calling it. But what are they doing? They're having things like there's colleges out there that are setting up Black only like graduations and like, things that are only for people of color and stuff like that. And so essentially they're getting what they want.
Sure.
It's backwards from the way they normally would do it, because normally it would be like, oh no, white people, we're doing this. You guys go over there and do your own thing. Where nowadays it's, oh no, we're going to set up this special thing for Black people and people of color and everything else over here. But white people, you're over there.
Sure.
So they're still getting what they want.
They still are. Yeah. And, I do have my personal feelings on this. And I feel personally that anytime you segregate yourself, either if you're white, Black, whatever ethnic background you're from, it's basically, it's wrong. To segregate yourself again apart from another group. I mean, if you're preaching unity and coming together as human beings, we are all human beings. You don't need to set yourselves apart. But if one group can set themselves apart from another group without backlash, but full on support from the media, from the entertainment industry, all the way on down the line, then any group should be able to set themselves apart without being declared to be a racist group, either on the Black side, the white side, or whatever other ethnicity is out there that is trying to do something, positive for their community.
Yep.
And I feel it should be open to all races, all groups should be able to explore that freely without backlash. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox. So there we go. So QAnon had centered itself around violent ideation since its inception. And before the brutal attack on the Capitol, several killings, numerous incidents of domestic terrorism, multiple child kidnapping schemes, police chases, and even a botched attempt to kill Joe Biden and destroy a coronavirus hospital ship were committed in the name of QAnon. Yeah. And I remember there was that botched attempt to kill Joe Biden, but and I can't remember.
Give him time; he'll die on his own.
I think that I can't remember the actors that were involved in that. I'm not saying the entertainment industry. No, I'm not saying like famous actors like.
So
Matthew McConaughey.
Here's my question. This botched attempt on Joe Biden, was it also like the botched attempt on kidnapping the Michigan governor, where come to find out it was actually led by the FBI and there was more FBI agents involved in that than actual people?
You are sounding more like QAnon now, Derek.
I'm just saying.
I'm not going either way on that. I'm trusting that you have more information than I do on that.
Oh, that's a fun story to get into, Ron. We'll have to talk about it.
But I also do remember the hospital ship. I do remember that, there was an attempt to destroy that hospital ship as well. So it is
one that Cuomo wasn't using.
Right. Right.
And instead of using the ship, he sent old people to, sent people to old folks' homes.
Yeah,
let's killed millions of old folks.
Well, also, our governor of our great state of Michigan did the same
exact thing.
Woo! Yes. Well, it's been a movement.
Not Q, I swear.
No. But there has to be a give and take. There really does. There has to be a give and take. So basically, Q has been a movement that has been premised with the idea of a storm of mass arrests and executions that will sweep corruption, child molesters, and liberals out of the government forever. So it should not be so jarring and a surprise, really, when Q believers decided to carry out that long-promised purge themselves. So basically, really, what Q revolves around is that they believe that there was a group of anonymous military intelligence insiders who collectively referred to themselves as Q. And still to this day, there hasn't been really any evidence if it was one person or a group of people created Q.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, the Q has kind of made its resurgence, particularly with the Roe versus Wade thing, where there were some drops that were made, and these drops had certain what are called trip codes, and we'll talk about those a little bit later, that were associated with the original Q posts. But these trip codes really don't align. They're original trip codes, but with something like this movement being out of circulation for so long online, that trip codes change, and there should be a different trip code that would be associated with Q, not the same one. So they're thinking that somebody went in there and changed the trip code manually. So
that's a bunch of smart people.
Yeah. It says to a lot of quote unquote the experts would say that, well, that's what it seems, that it's not the original Q. That it's probably a different group of people or a different person that's doing this. So basically, these military individuals, or an individual that poses as Q, are patriots, or a patriot that are under orders from Trump to leak clues and prompts that reveal secret knowledge of an upcoming world event called the Storm. So these believers see themselves at the center of a secret war between good and evil, a war that will end with the slaughter of the enemies of freedom. And there is also a conspiracy theory of everything aspect to QAnon, which makes it a kind of a big welcoming tent who question authority, distrust media, and who do their own research and kind of go down those deep rabbit holes, on YouTube.
Am I a QAnon supporter?
I
do my own research. I don't trust the media.
That makes you a QAnon supporter. There you go. You are, without even admitting it. Surprise.
I enjoy conspiracy theories. I don't know if I actually believe in all the ones I enjoy, but I enjoy some good conspiracy theories. Like, this is starting to scare me a little bit, Ron.
Yeah, and it might be. This might be your coming out.
It could be
right here.
I'm coming out. God,
So-
don't let my daughter hear me say that, because she will take that the entirely different way.
So they fight primarily with, not primarily with guns or bombs, but by making memes and decoding deep state comms. They refuse vaccines, and they refused to wear COVID-19 masks. And they feel that they take their part in waking up the normies, the normal people and friends, to what is really going on. And their true fight, really, where they kind of win their fight, is on the Twitter platform, and their small interactions with non-believers on Twitter platforms and social media. That's really where they kind of, that's their bread and butter.
Again, there's so much stuff coming out, like with the whole COVID-19 vaccines and mask things
Right
nowadays, that it makes me scratch my head and go, they may not have been right, but were they wrong?
Were they? I always feel this. I feel this to be true, and just by working in various places that I've worked at, and particularly a factory environment too, that if you have like a rumor of something, whatever is going on, there's always a slight bit of truth to that rumor.
Exactly. Like if you look now, YouTube, this wonderful platform that we're on, got rid of most of their COVID-19 guidelines. Like, because it used to be you couldn't, like, if you mentioned COVID, like, you were kicked off like that. Like, they'd drop live streams because you started talking about the vaccine and stuff like that. Where now you can talk about the vaccine, you can kind of question it a little bit, you can talk about masks and if they were actually that relevant or not, because there's a lot of studies out there that are saying like masks weren't, like they kind of might have helped a little bit, but not really. Like I watched a video with the Surgeon General of Florida, and and if I get it a little bit wrong, I sincerely apologize. He was saying that there was a few studies done that were, they claim in the study that it had a 10% efficacy rate, with groups, the group that wore a mask to the group that didn't wear a mask. So, with the group that wore a mask, only so many percent got it. Well, 10%, it worked 10% better than the other group, which sounds like, if it worked on 12% here, well, it was 22%. No, it's 10% of the 12%.
Right.
So it's one extra percentage.
Right.
And so they just make it, they skew like the numbers so hard with some of the tests that make, people who don't actually look into it and read into it, normies like you and me, go, oh my goodness, well that's help, like that, that's a good thing. And then he's like, it helped, but it's like saying here's 10 cents to your $100 bill. Like,
it's not going to be quite the same.
Exactly.
And that's one thing, like you said, like a lot of people will go, wow, that's amazing. But for me personally, I found out from doing this podcast, I'm a much more hardline skeptic than I thought I was.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm not so pressed to believe, wow, jump right into it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, statistics say. No, I just really don't buy into statistics say.
And don't look at one thing.
Right.
Again, the hard part about doing this podcast was everything you look at was skewed one direction.
It seemed to be.
And I want the other side.
Anti-QAnon.
Yeah, everything is
right.
QAnon is a cult. QAnon is bad. QAnon is crazy. QAnon is blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I'm not saying it's not all true, or not saying some of it's not true.
Sure.
But I firmly believe there are good people in QAnon. I firmly believe there are some people who are not as psychotic as the few people that you talk to.
Right.
Like, I'm sure there are some level-headed people, but you cannot see them. You can't find their stories because all of them are blocked.
Well, it doesn't make news. It's not. And
it's
not so
newsworthy.
flashy. Yeah, it's not so flashy.
You want the crazy person.
You want that clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of the stories that we're going to explore. You want that clickbaity stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I think as a person, particularly when it comes to conspiracy theories, I feel personally, okay, don't shut yourself off from it completely. Always go into it with an open mind, with
Yep.
a possibility to entertain the possibilities.
Yeah.
Don't fall into it, hook, line, and
I mean,
sinker
how many
either.
conspiracy theories have turned out to be true?
Sure. I mean, look what our governments has been involved in. Governments
Yeah.
worldwide have been
Yeah.
involved in the type of experiments they've been involved in for years and years, decades.
Yeah.
And at the time, they were just considered conspiracies.
Yep.
When they've came to light that there's been a lot of truth to it.
Yeah.
I mean, particularly LSD research with our own government.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's so many things out there, and people are like, "Oh, a government would never do that."
They would never administer a drug like that to unsuspecting civilians. Oh, really?
Really? Yes, they did.
Yes, they did. They did it to our military as well.
Right? Ever hear of what was it called, the Tuskegee experiment?
There you go.
Like where they took an African American community that had syphilis. And it was like, oh, yeah, we're helping you.
Mm-hmm.
And they let them die.
Yeah.
Just to see what the effects of prolonged syphilis was. Like,
yeah.
And like a year into it, they had penicillin, which would have legitimately cured everyone just about.
Mm-hmm.
And they still continued to let them die. Tell me the government's not going to do something stupid.
Sure.
That's going to go, let's see what happens when we do this with our community.
And you can't tell me that just because they were called out on a lot of the stuff that happened decades ago, they just decided, okay, we're going to stop doing everything that's nefarious. Yeah. And we're just going to stop doing any of sort of nefarious experiments, anything that's questionable. We're not going to do it anymore. Come on.
It's really funny when you talk to people about politicians and stuff like that. They're a lot like lawyers. You know, when you talk to people about them, is they always lie. They always lie. Well, they never tell the truth, and yet they will defend them to the death.
Sure. I mean, hell, look what was going on in Guantanamo.
Yeah.
Oh no, waterboarding? Hell no. That is so barbaric and so inhumane. What were we doing? We were doing a whole hell of a lot of waterboarding and more than that, my friends. Yeah, more than that. It still goes on.
Yeah.
They don't stop.
People will sit there and whine and cry of the government couldn't do that. Our politicians couldn't do that. Oh, why wouldn't you believe them when they say we don't? And I look at them and go, you believe them when they say anything else? Well, no. Well, then why the hell would you believe them on this?
Right.
Not saying they are, but
so
anyways, back to QAnon.
Are we QAnon supporters? Not 100%, but come on, people in our government, stop being so stupid.
Like, again, I
stop
don't
giving
agree
them
with
reasons.
I don't agree with them, but I understand.
Right. Stop giving them reasons to disbelieve what you're doing.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Really? So, according to QAnon researcher Mike Rothschild, Q has a number of precursor conspiracy theories and scams, but no conspiracy theory feeds more immediately into Q than Pizzagate. Oh, yeah, Pizzagate.
You know, I know what it is. I know what you did. You were like, what topic can we cover where I'm just going to get Derek to rant for 4 fucking hours?
Yes.
That's what you did, isn't it?
Uh-huh. I did.
And you're going to be like, Derek's going to be a QAnon supporter, or they're going to think Derek's a QAnon supporter by the end of this, just because of how much he's going to rant on all the bullshit that's going on in this topic.
Right.
That's what it was.
Right.
It's all a ploy against me, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah. Like you said, hey, like we said here, QAnon is a conspiracy of everything.
Yeah.
And so what would a conspiracy be without Pizzagate? So the allegation, which came out to be false. Did it really? Did it really?
Okay, on my notes, I have one thing highlighted, bold, italicized with like 5 exclamation points. As 2 words.
Uh-huh.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
I heard the story years ago with the whole Pizzagate, and then the Epstein stuff comes out, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
maybe Pizzagate might have been wrong, but is the whole thing wrong?
Is the whole thing
Again,
wrong? Maybe
they take what is based in truth, and then they blow it up to an extreme. Like. Anyway, Pizzagate. What's Pizzagate, Ron?
Well,
let us know what Pizzagate is.
The allegation was that Hillary and Bill Clinton used Comet Ping Pong Pizza Parlor restaurant in Washington, D.C. as a front for a pedophile sex ring. The back room was supposedly used for kidnapping and trafficking children. So here we go again. Is there a little bit of truth to this? Because there have been reports that Bill Clinton knew Epstein and that Bill Clinton
he was on
flew
the flight list.
on his plane.
He was on that flight list.
So is he saying, come along, kiddies, I'm going to bring out an airplane ride?
Like 15 times, if I remember.
And this Pizzagate came out, like you said, way before Epstein.
Well, way before Epstein was covered originally.
Yes.
Because there was an Epstein story that got covered up years before.
Right. So are we like one of these true crime investigators, these at-home true crime investigators that have the yarn with the tacks, with the thumbtacks on the wall, that they're, it's becoming like a spaghetti trail of connections, here. That's what I'm feeling we're falling into here.
Well, oh gosh, what so you remember the old like it was like a game type thing, Degrees to Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Like it was how many people in
6 degrees or 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Essentially is turning into Epstein now. So many degrees of Epstein. And most of the time it's one.
Yeah.
It's, oh yeah, I knew Epstein.
Right.
And it's like, wait a second. Yeah. What the hell?
Right. Yeah. I knew Epstein, but I had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
I just knew him in social circles. That's it.
Again, the one person that gets bad mouthed about Epstein all the time, Donald Trump, he was the one person who actually has evidence that he did something negative towards Epstein. He banned him from Mar-a-Lago. He wouldn't do like land deals and business deals with him.
Yeah. So
but he's the only one you ever hear of that actually had negative things to do with the guy.
Right. I remember the interview with Prince Andrew very well. Prince Andrew, remember? They interviewed him. Was it 2020? Or was it Dateline? I can't remember which one it was. They had pictures of him standing at the top of the staircase with Epstein and another very young looking girl. Yeah. And they asked him, is that you? And he denied it. No, that's not me. That is you. That's you at the top of the staircase with Epstein. No, that's not me. No, I have no idea who that is. I don't know. No, he said, I don't remember. That's what he said. I don't remember that.
Conspiracy theory time. So why he couldn't get Trump? Comes up to Trump like, hey man, I got this special little island. You should come check it out. Trump's goes, I smell something fishy going on. He goes, nah. Have you seen my wife? Fine. I'm good. And then he found out what was going on. Was like, yeah, fuck you. Get the hell out.
Yeah. Yeah, right. And that's kind of, again, not to say that we support Q 100% in their theories on Trump, that Trump is the savior.
Not that we support Trump that much.
Yeah.
It's just
that he's the savior for, child sex trafficking and all these young kids that are being funneled through this. But, here he kind of, he doesn't support Epstein, doesn't want anything to do with him.
Like, and when what people always say is, well, why is he in pictures with them? Why is he in pictures with them? Because you always have to put on a public face. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what community you're in. You will always put on a public face in the right circumstance.
But were these pictures that were taken like at public events where they were just happened to be together at the same event?
I've seen at least.
It wasn't like at their private homes. They were probably private events where the media had said, hey, Trump, hey, Epstein, why don't you get into this picture together?
It was,
okay.
It was at a wedding that they both attended. It's like, okay. Like maybe they were, maybe they were standing next to each other and like, it was like, oh, hey, can we get a photo op between you guys? You know, because Epstein was a rich, powerful person that media would want photos of. And Donald Trump is, I mean, he's Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been Donald Trump as far back as I can remember. Donald Trump.
He wants a picture.
Like,
he definitely wants a picture.
And
he wants that picture framed at his house. Definitely after that photo op.
So it's like, we're walking through and it's like, oh yeah, you happen to talk to the guy because he's talking to some of your other friends. Doesn't mean you like him, but he's there. You're cordial. It's not being two-faced. It's not being whatever. It's being professional.
Right.
And it's being polite.
Yes.
Whether you like the guy or not, whether you know what's going on.
Well, and it's being professional. It's actually marketing the Trump brand.
Yeah.
Basically, he's marketing himself when he does these photo ops. And so it's understandable that irregardless if you're with a person or a celebrity that you like or dislike, you're going to take that picture and then just kind of maybe walk away from it and just have nothing to do with that person probably for the rest of the day, or unless another photo op is there and they say, hey, let's get you guys together. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yeah. Makes sense. Right.
Stop making us defend these people.
Right. So anyway, Pizzagate began after James Alefantis, the owner of Comet Ping Pong and a notable Democratic donor, was mentioned in Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta's emails released by WikiLeaks. Alefantis, who had previously been in a relationship with David Brock, who was a Clinton ally, was potentially going to organize a fundraiser for Clinton's campaign. So, members of the anonymous message board 4chan, an internet message board known as a gathering place for those with extreme beliefs and the place the conspiracy theory took hold, began to troll Alefantis' social media accounts, citing photos of children, basement construction, and letters from Clinton as evidence of purported wrongdoing. Users claim that some words in Alefantis' emails were code words, kind of like pizza and cheese were code words for child sex trafficking activities. Yeah. So they were trying to piece all of this together.
2 extra cheese pizzas.
Exactly.
With anchovies.
Exactly me. Yeah. And I want 2 little kids, basically. Yeah. And Pizzagate quickly spread to other social media sites, including Twitter and Reddit, where a thread called Pizzagate attracted thousands of subscribers. The story then began spreading on Facebook and fake news websites, then ultimately reaching abroad to places like Saudi Arabia. So it just spread like wildfire. And so that's where you had the whole Pizzagate phenomena.
Yeah.
So, and I think eventually what had happened is that there was a father that went into the pizza place.
December 4th, 2016. Edgar Welch went in. He had an AR-15, a Colt 38, and a shotgun. He went in there, fired off a few rounds at walls, stuff like that, computers. Eventually, after 45 minutes, he surrendered, but no one was hurt. It was
okay.
He went in. He did not. Again, it's one of those things where I think a little bit of media hype happened. He admits he went in not wanting to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
He just wanted to find out the truth. He wanted to know, is there a secret room? Is there a basement? Is there a back room? Is there a whatever? What is going on here? And nobody will give you a straight answer. So he's like, I'm going to go find out for myself.
Mm-hmm. Was he a Q supporter? I don't know if it ever came out.
I don't know if he was a Q supporter per se, but I know he got his stuff through like the whole Pizzagate thing.
Oh, okay.
So like that is the link, is it was through the Pizzagate stuff. Whether it was through Q specifically or not, I can't remember if I read that or not. But you know, still it was, you know, one of these, you know, it was essentially the start of Q.
Yeah.
One of like the mainstream starts of Q.
Yeah.
Was this whole Pizzagate thing. You know?
Yeah. It was kind of like the bridge.
Yeah.
Between QAnon, Pizzagate. because it started on what were HTG, or it was known as the Human Trafficking General threads on 4chan.
Yep.
Was kind of like the missing link between QAnon and Pizzagate.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of brought them together.
Yeah. Well, and then did you read the Justin Bieber thing?
Mm-mm.
So along with this whole Pizzagate and child sex trafficking and stuff like that, in May of 2020, Justin Bieber had a live thing on Instagram, and somebody on there told him, if you were child sex trafficked, or if you were trafficked as a child, touch your hat. And after that question was asked, he touched his hat. And so a lot of people like QAnon supporters and believers in the whole thing took that as a direct sign that there is something going on.
Okay.
But also idea is when you're doing a live stream, there's a bunch of questions that are popping up, and he probably just kind of adjusted his beanie that he was wearing.
Sure.
And it just so happened to be after the guy asked the question. It's happenstance.
I know for this live stream right now, I am trying so hard not to pick my nose.
Right.
But like, I really want to, pick my nose and touch whatever part of my body, and it's kind of hard not to. You just do things without thinking about it.
I was gonna say, and I always feel bad because I keep looking at my phone, but I keep getting Facebook alerts because our Facebook my link that I put on Facebook to this wasn't working. So people were like, your link isn't working. I was like, just go to YouTube. I'm sorry,
everybody. Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Sorry. We had technical difficulties at the very start. So.
Our first link for our first video that we tried to put up worked. Our second link for this one wasn't working for whatever reason.
Yeah, so we apologize. We'll get all of those bugs fixed. So it was basically, the Human Trafficking General, the thread on 4chan was the connection between QAnon and Pizzagate. So instead of focusing on a limited supply of email and material to comb through, the HTG culture allowed users to actively participate in the imagined storylines. A key HTG poster was Anonymous 5. His name was also known as just Frank. Frank, that's right, who claimed to be a child prostitution investigator. So the main tenets of the QAnon ideology were already present at 4chan before Q's appearance, including claims that Hillary Clinton was directly involved in a pedophile ring, and that Robert Mueller was secretly working with Trump, and that large-scale military tribunals were imminent, and they were going to throw the Clintons in jail. They were going to be hanged, and so, and so that's kind of how it all began. Kind of interesting. It began on 4chan, where 4chan was known as this really edgy site to post anything and everything that you wanted to post. You could post,
I read as long as it was legal in the U.S., you were allowed to post it.
You could post anything, any conspiracy theory that you wanted to. You could post hate posts. You could do anything along those lines as well, and I don't know. I mean, I agree with freedom of press and freedom of speech, but when you are starting to align yourself with ideations of a particular group that really wants to hit or hurt another particular group by enticing violence against that particular group, that's when I think a line should be drawn. Don't you think?
It's a very squiggly line.
It really is.
Because my thing is, depending on how specific, I thought you were going to stop like a couple words early or like a sentence early on that, because, if you start targeting certain groups that you just don't like their ideology, where does that stop? Mm-hmm. Because that's essentially what's happening. Not a lot, but enough right now where if you disagree with what the status quo is right now, you can easily get banned from
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and Instagram and
Sure.
Twitter
Sure.
and YouTube and
Okay.
everything else. But yeah,
I'm talking about something going beyond attack and ideation.
Yeah, but you're actually calling for physical
violence, calling out a particular group, saying racial slurs against that particular group.
Even
and
racial
saying,
slurs. I disagree.
I really have a hard time with that.
Disagree with the use of a racial slur or of an insult of any sort. But at the same time, I don't think we can limit somebody because it hurts your fifis.
I guess you're right, because I mean we can talk about one racial slur that is being used by a particular community that racial slur has been used against. I mean the N-word.
Yeah.
But that community uses it quite regularly.
Yeah.
I will even use cracker to refer to us. We even have our own restaurant, the Cracker Barrel.
Right. It's just
there you go.
Full of white people.
That's it. So, I mean,
but
I guess it depends on how sensitive you are. I'm not sensitive to stuff like that, but if it's used to entice violence, that's when I become very sensitive towards it.
And that's where the key. It's not the use of the word. It's the call for violence that you have to be careful for.
Or if it's how would I say, separating a particular group because of that, and how would I say, deplatforming them, or
I firmly believe I have the right to dislike anyone I want.
Sure.
I don't care what the reason is. I think I have the right to dislike somebody.
But if it's taken away those rights of a certain group of people by utilizing those type of words or those type of actions, I definitely feel that is wrong as well.
How's it going to take away their rights by me saying something?
Well, if you were to say something, say this group is this or that, and then it I guess takes away their right to, say, I don't know, get a job or to be in a particular area because of that.
I mean,
then
that's a different, because then you're talking like on a corporate level.
Sure. That's what I mean.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's what
you're talking. Yeah, you're talking straight out discrimination at that point.
Yeah.
Where on a personal, private level, whether it's me posting on Facebook or whatever, I mean, you can call me whatever the heck you want.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as you call out violence towards me, my family, and friends, I mean, you have something.
That's when we got a problem. Yeah, that's when we got a problem.
But at the same time, I firmly believe if you think I am a pussy little white boy that needs to be put in his place,
and cracker boy.
Yeah, you can call me whatever words you want to call me. If you think I'm a little bitch, if you want to call me whatever words you want to call me, I firmly believe you have a right to do that.
Sure, you do.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to punch you in the face when I see you.
Right.
But I firmly believe you have a right to do that.
You have the right for free speech.
Yeah. You can call me whatever you want, as long as you don't outright call for violence towards me. Then whatever.
But if it takes away your life or liberty, then definitely.
Which is why, like I said, like I don't agree with using racial slurs and things like that, but I don't think it should be banned.
No.
It's like, oh God, I'm gonna apologize for this right now, Ron. Big thing nowadays, misgendering people. Big taboo. And I firmly believe, to be polite, you should use what people want when in a conversation. Like if I go up to somebody and I am correct, I go up, hey sir, and they go, it's ma'am. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, ma'am. Be polite, just like you would with anyone else. Just be polite. But at the same time, if you're going to try to get me arrested because I misgender you, it's not my responsibility.
Sure.
Like that's not my job to make sure I don't hurt your feelings.
Right. Or if I'm going to be deplatformed because of it, or if I'm going to lose my job because I refer to you as a man or a woman and not as they.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get fired over it, or I'm going to be,
or some of the 900 other things that people want to be called. There are people out there that prefer to be called God.
Sure.
That is their pronoun. And it's like, God isn't a pronoun. I don't think. Can God be used as a pronoun?
I'm not that linguistically skilled.
Not either, but like, how big-headed do you have to be like, oh no, treat me like a God?
I'm God. Yeah. Well, so this is what this 4chan board was. You could post anything and everything from hate speech to violent acts to whatever was really edgy, and you could post it all. And again, here we are. I mean, we talk about deplatforming and everything like that because of a particular belief or because of a particular group. And here you have individuals within QAnon and everything that within certain social media sites and everything were are being deplatformed because of their beliefs and everything like that, you know, and I don't think it's right because they believe this about Q or whatever, or because they believe this about the COVID-19 vaccine that they should have been deplatformed.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's, it got crazy.
Yes. So, right. So I think, I think we could stop here. I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up for today's discussion.
All right.
Yeah. So what do you think so far?
Stop making me defend stupid people.
That's right. Yeah. Stop doing things, our government leaders, stop doing things that actually, make Q sound like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck, regular people stop making me defend them. Like every time somebody says something where they remove the other group's right to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like all you're doing is giving me ammo to defend them when I don't want to defend them.
Right.
Because I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say, what's the other side? And you go, you can't look at the other side. Well, then I'm going to freaking look at the other side.
Right.
Like,
right.
I'm sorry. Like they deserve a voice too. They have the right to speak up and everything else. And you don't have the right to tell them they don't. You know, they get their day. Everyone should have their day, their voice. And if you don't like their voice, then I don't care. It's not for you to say.
Right.
You know, it's not for me to say, Ron, I don't like your opinion and you can't state it.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can state your opinion. Whether I think you're wrong or right has no bearing on whether or not you get to state your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hell, it can be flat out wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You should still be able to state your opinion.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we let the flat earthers state their opinion all the time.
I was going to say, they get to talk all they want and they don't get shut up. What the hell?
So anyway, I think this is going to kind of wrap up today's episode, and then we will further look at QAnon going forward. We're going to look at more of its beginnings in our next episode, and maybe some of the people that had run-ins with the law, particularly one of the first Q incidents that had occurred. And that's going to be very interesting to talk about. Michael Wright.
Ah, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So, Derek, where can everybody get a hold of us at?
Well, you can find us streaming on Podbean, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and a bunch of other ones.
Mm-hmm.
If we happen not to be on one that you prefer, get a hold of us. Hop on our Gmail account, and you can email us at theshitshowwcl@gmail.com. If that's kind of our listener one. So if you have suggestions or anything like that, tell us how much we suck, whatever it is, get a hold of us on there. Sadly, we cannot do it on our live streams yet. But if you are like a band or something else and you want to kind of get a hold of us, and it's a little more business related, you can get a hold of us at theshitshowwcl@outlook.com. Granted, we are still planning on doing stuff extra stuff, all our musical inputs and all that stuff
Mhm.
on our live, or not on our live stream, but on our actual podcast. We will edit stuff in and all that kind of good stuff.
That's right.
Let's see here. We also have our website, theshitshowwcl.com. You can find us on there. That'll have links to our Instagram, our Gmail, and a few other things. You can get a hold of us on Instagram at theshitshowwcl. You can get a hold of Ron on there as well at ron.klett. You can find me on there at derekthebarbaricdrenth. We also have a Facebook page, which is The Shit Show, and that is shit without an I because Facebook censorship. But then you can also find us on YouTube at The Shit Show WCL. Obviously, if you're watching live, you've already found us. Or if you're watching the video, you're obviously found us.
Hello.
Hi. But if you're listening to us while streaming and you're like, hey, I'd like to see what these funny guys look like. Well, funny looking guys, I should say.
Right.
I don't know about the humor side of it, but as my daughter would say, Ron the potato. I don't know why. I still don't know why she calls you a potato, but she does.
Wait till I put on my angry eyes.
Right. And then, gosh, there's me, Harry, his mother.
Right, the missing link. He is the missing link.
I think we have a Sasquatch episode for some time, maybe.
We do sometime.
It's me. But anyways, that's that. We do also actually. Well, we're still kind of working. I need to get pictures from you, Ron.
Okay.
Because I really want to get our OnlyFans up and running.
No, what kind of pictures do you want from me? Maybe my wife has some of those pictures.
Ooh, there we go. I'm thinking feet pics.
Oh,
what do you think?
Oh, well, I don't know about that because my wife just made a comment about my feet today. She said, if I would have known your feet look like that when I first dated you, I would have never married you. I said, what do you mean my feet look? She said, I swear your feet did not look that crusty before. And I'm going, what do you mean? I got beautiful feet.
There are fetishes out there for everyone. I'm sure we'll find one.
Should I prop a foot? Should I prop a foot up here on the table?
Go,
there they are.
Yeah.
There's my feet. Look at those feet. Look at that. Those are beautiful feet, everyone. Come on. I don't know what my wife is talking about. So there you go, everyone. Shot of my foot.
There you go.
Don't get too excited.
That's a free shot.
That's a free one.
You don't have to pay for that one.
Right. You might get a shot of the toenails next. Yeah.
You guys are so lucky. Anyway, let's see here. That's that one. I think that's everything.
Is that it? You got it all?
That's everything.
Wow.
I'm sure I forgot something.
Oh, well, if you did, you're going to have to save it for next episode then.
Oh, well.
Okay. Well, so this has been Ron Klett.
And this has been Derek the Barbaric Drenth.
And you have just had a front row seat to the shit show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.